A lot of people are looking at the. I think right now the parade is going on, and then they have the inaugural balls. And speaking of that, here in Chicago, Barack Obama's our president, his hometown, they have a lot of events going on. They have a People's Ball that is going on tonight at the Grand Ballroom, which is on 63rd and Cottage Grove. And that's a place that people before didn't want to come anywhere near. But they have valet parking, so if you're afraid to park somewhere and walk to the Grand Ballroom, they'll park your car for you. They have a big parking lot across the street, and there will be a People's Ball tonight beginning at 6 p.m. at 6400 South Cottage Grove Avenue, the Grand Ballroom. There's also a ballroom down on 22nd and Michigan called the Mormon Grand. They also have an inaugural ball that is going on tonight, and they're inviting people to come to that. You gotta pay some bucks for that. Then they have the Skyline Ballroom at McCormick Place. They have an inaugural ball there tonight. Big bucks for that. But what the heck? You only have a first African American president once in your lifetime. So if you feel like partying, if you feel like celebrating, go to the Grand Ballroom, go to the Mormon Grand, go to McCormick Place to the Skyline Room, look in your newspaper, watch the TV, call the city, find out where the events are tonight that people are celebrating, and go to join them. Now, I want to tell you, get your attention to an event that's coming up. It's called the National Black Nurses Day, and it is called Nursing Legends of Excellence, from the back room to the boardroom. That's February 6th. February 6th is National Black Nurses Day, and it's honoring nurses in perioperative, post-operative, same-day surgery, advanced practice, law, and forensics. And it is presented jointly by the Alpha Eta Chapter, Inc., Chi Eta Phi Nursing Society, Lambda Pi Alpha Nursing Society, Chicago Chapter National Black Nurses Association, and the Provident Nursing Alumni Association. And that is at Apostolic Faith Church, 3800 South Indiana Avenue. Bishop Horace Smith is the pastor. Admission is free. Let me tell you, those of you who are watching, see the nurse in me. We are nurturers, we are caretakers, we are the people at your bedside all the time. We are the people in whose hands your life rests. We are the difference between your good outcome and your bad outcome. Your nurse. We have given up some of our professionalism in the name of practicality. We no longer wear the starch white uniforms and the beautiful white hats and all of those things because we work. We really sweat. And so you'll see us in scrubs, and you have no idea if we're the doctor, the nurse, the CNA, the LPN, the RN, or who we are. Ask questions. Say, are you a nurse? What kind of nurse are you? What can you do? What do you do? We have chosen a day, and it was introduced into law by the Honorable Charles Rangel. It was introduced into law that National Black Nurses Day would be on February the 6th. It would be on February 6th, the first Friday of every February, every year, the first Friday of February. We're going to celebrate National Black Nurses. Did you know that the first nurse, being the first nurse, has always been credited to Florence Nightingale? So when people talk about nursing, they say Florence Nightingale was the first nurse, etc., etc. Well, guess what? There were two first nurses. One was Florence Nightingale. The other was Mary Seacole. Florence Nightingale was the first white nurse, and Mary Seacole was the first black nurse, and they were there together, serving in the Crimean War, taking care of the sick and the wounded, and Mary Seacole used her own money. Florence Nightingale was sent by the British government. Mary Seacole used her own money to take care and her transportation over there. And they both took care of the sick and the wounded. And from there, nursing began. And it got bigger and bigger. Those of you who are looking for a career, I believe they were talking about us losing 80,000 more jobs. Healthcare. is a booming career. It's one of the top 5 careers that they've named that you need to be looking at as a career. But let me caution you, do not come into this field for the money. That is not what it's about. And they cannot pay you enough money for the work that you have to do, the pain that you have to endure, the education that you have to continually get. They can't pay you enough. You do this for love. If you do that for that, and you give and you will get back. They have schools of nursing all over the city. I'm going to ask you to call the Chicago chapter of the National Black Nurses Association and get more information on schools of nursing. A lot of those nurses in that particular chapter are nursing instructors. That number is 792 7222. That's a 773 number. I always have to look at Janice because I never remember, never write it down. Of course, I don't call it. I'm at the meeting every second Saturday of the month at the Lutheran School of Theology on the University of Chicago campus at 4 p.m. So I never have a need to call them. But it's 773-791-7222. Why don't you make this? Did I do it wrong, Janice? 7222? 773. 792. I said 791. That's Michael Reese's extension. 792-7222. Sorry. But as I said, I don't call it. But give us a call. You need to join. And those of you who are nurses and doctors, in the year 2010, we are all going to be responsible for continuing education credits in order to keep our licenses. So you're going to have to see us whether you want to or not, because this particular event, National Black Nurses Day, is good for two CEUs, 2 continuing education credits, if you come on that particular night. So you need to call us for more information. And you need to, on February 6th, as I go off the air, is wear red. It's a day when Americans nationwide will wear red to show support for women's heart disease. A lot of women have heart disease, so awareness is possible. Wear a red dress or anything red. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, we congratulate. This has been a momentous day. Our first black African-American president of the United States was inaugurated on this day, and it was wonderful. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you right here next month. Have a great and a safe